So we're here at Champ's Clock Shop in Douglasville, Georgia. It's January 10th, 2026. Howard Miller just announced that they had the last two of the J.H. Miller clocks available for sale. Well, according to the stock, I checked it and they are sold out. We've got one sitting right here in Douglasville, Georgia, sitting next to the last Hershey clock ever made. That was from 1984. And then we've got some other very limited high-end production pieces. This was Sly's last limited production piece. This actually was in Sly's showroom. Actually in their, that was their entry foyer at the factory when they closed that down out of the old colonial building. This is two models previous to the J.H. Miller. This one is tubular bell model, which if it was a J.H. Miller would be well over $30,000. That's the 610-731. Of course, this also was the Kenninger 9 tubular bell movement that they use inside the J.H. Miller tubular, but without aluminum parts added to it. Then this is the previous model to that clock, which we still have in stock. These were brand new, right out of the box. And let's see, that's 610-806. Yeah, I guess that's what that says. And then we've got other very premium pieces, prototype piece from Sly, probably from 93 maybe. There's another Howard Miller piece that we saw go away, hated to see that go. Very reasonable for what it was. That piece there, that's a 1974 or 5 trend by Sly piece made of teak wood. They come out with it and introduced it and never produced it in teak. They made it in oak with what they call an old world finish. Then we got the Monster Gazo clock, the San Juan Batista. And then we've got the John Goddard by Sly, which is a superior piece to most of these reproduction type pieces. It was tall and lean and beautiful. And then this model, which is a Kenninger made piece, it's got the same Kenninger 9 tubular bell movement that was used in the J.H. Miller, but then again, it wasn't polished up like that. That's a superior version. Another thing from Christmas past. And then, of course, we've got a room full of other Howard Miller Slys, some Ridgeway, even. Still brand new old stock. That's a GMK Fancher limited edition. That one was from about 1987, made in Salamanca, New York. This is a current model that's still being produced by Hermley, North America, American-made grandfather clock. And they will still continue to be in business after Howard Miller's long gone. That is a Hershey model 124. Very, very nice rendition of that. This piece here came to us in 1981. This was a limited edition, which was designed to compete with the Sly. Before Charles R. Sly was available, they had one called a Centennial. And it was designed to look a little bit like the Centennial, but it just didn't meet the ticket. I mean, the Centennial was just a better selling clock. But I can remember when these things were selling for $8,000 at a regular old furniture store. And of course, we've still got it. It's $9,500 now just because things have gone up. But that's a very nice piece. That's I think it's the 250th birthday of George Washington. Then we've got another premium example of a Hershey Haverford. You will not see a finish like that on any factory models. I spent about 20 hours hand polishing that finish, and you won't find a dial like this on anything else that's been produced in the last maybe, since 1984. That's all hand engraved, gold plated, real brass, no pot metal, nothing. It's just a very high-end piece. Hershey Hall Clock Company. And then this room also has one of only 300 pieces made. This is the Jacob Ebby. The original stands at the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan. It's got a sweep second hand, which is very nice to see ticking. It's got a calendar mechanism, but it's as close of reproduction as you can do at the time they did it. They even used vintage, I guess 150 or 200-year-old glass that they come up with. Then we've got this awesome Sly 743 wall clock. This piece they produced from about 1970, I'm going to say 78 maybe, and they produced it right on up until 2005, the final production. This is one of the latest models, so it's got the best improvements and things as far as glass retainers, stuff like that. This is a premium Virginia clock. How many of you ever heard of Virginia clock? Well, Virginia sprung out of Ridgeway. One of the owner's brothers, I guess, he come up with Virginia Clock Company because they used to be made in Virginia prior to Howard Miller buying them and moving them to Michigan, and then just blending them in with the rest of the Howard Miller line. But that piece is an example of probably about 6 that we had. I doubt there was more than 25 of these pieces made. Nice tubular bell movement. Again, this is another Charles R. Sly piece. I think I only made about 60 different pieces of that clock. We donated the tubular bell model with the Kenninger movement, which is standing right next to the J.H. Miller there. We donated one of those to the Douglas County Courthouse when it was completed in 1998. Still standing there, very beautiful piece. Then this guy here is the Pearl 10th anniversary. Pearl had worked with Ridgeway and assorted other companies over the years, but his company finally achieved a status of producing a piece this brilliant with a full astrological dial. A lot of people feel like this is compatible with the one in Prague. Doesn't have the animated characters at the top, but quite awesome piece. And beautiful mother of pearl, nice mahogany stuff. Then, of course, this is the rod chime version of the one we were discussing previous. This is a Monster Elliott piece, purchased local here in an estate sale, and we're eventually going to get this one up and going. That is the last Charles R. Sly clock. I wanted to call it a Charles R. Sly because we're in the Charles R. Sly room. But that was the very last clock produced by Sly to come down the assembly line. Got a picture of Rob Sly holding the pendulum next to that clock, and that ended their production in the United States. And then we've got this beautiful piece. This is like it's a Simon Willard reproduction. And this thing, the customer we got it from paid $16,000 for that clock. Probably about, I'm going to say 1990, maybe 92. And of course, it never got used. It ended up being replaced with that contemporary clock that you see right there, one just like that. They went full contemporary instead of traditional. Then, of course, we've got a couple of other little pieces here. This is something kind of unique. It's got that fancy Italian carving. Just something a little different in here. This is an American Heritage wall clock. American Heritage pieces were sprung out from Colonial Clock Company. First it was Heritage Heirloom, and then once Heritage Heirloom sold out to New England, American Heritage started up, running by a guy named Charlie. Can't think of his last name right off. This is an inexpensive way for you to get into a tubular bell. This one uses the same 9-tubular bell movement exactly as the one that they used in the J.H. Miller tube model, which would have been the 611031. But, you know, it's in a nominal case, nice case, but it's a way to get into a tubular bell without having to spend a total fortune. This piece, that is the Centennial from Sly, prior to the Charles R. Sly line ever coming out. These were produced, I think, about 1982 for Sly's 80, was it their 80th anniversary? Actually, it's 1980. So anyway, this was a premium piece. I remember Tom Van Tamlin standing in here with us with a clock just like this, one of the series. And he said, "Champ, where do I go from here?" He says, "I built one of the finest cases that's ever been produced in modern times or even in the past for a grandfather clock." And Dad suggested, "Well, have you seen the one at the Henry Ford's office?" And they talked about it. And the next thing you know, when market came, they produced the clock Dad talked about. And there's another story that goes with that I'm not going to tell today. But then we're back to the most expensive clock we got here in the shop. That is a Hershey The Clock, the last and final production clock ever shipped from Hershey Hall Clock Company. And that sits right next to the documentation of the final letter discussing that they would no longer produce complete clocks. The final letter showing that we received the last 3 clocks from the factory. And then the Hershey brochure page document. But back to the J.H. Miller. I mean, we'll enjoy this one here probably for another few weeks, I would imagine, before somebody figures out that we've got one. It actually is a very beautiful piece. Currently, the finest cabinet of any kind made in the United States or the world, really, in a grandfather clock, and it's the last of an era. I mean, the title prior to that would have gone to any of the Charles R. Sly clocks. Their premium construction, finish, details were unmatched by anybody. But Howard Miller was the last one to continue to build one of these large, impressive pieces. And you commend them for continuing to do that. I've got a picture of a batch of them last time I was at the factory being produced. And of Of course, its rival would have been a clock like this, the Sly Limited Edition. I mean, just attention to detail is unsurpassed on that clock. But I can't say enough about these. I've delivered probably about 15 of them, both in tubular bell and rod chime. There was a time where I was selling about 2 or 3 a year of it, and then you'll skip a year sometimes. And we just delivered one of these out to, I guess it was Kansas, and you know, every time you let one go, you wonder when it's going to be the last. And I will never be able to purchase another one of these from Howard Miller. This is the last for us. And according, like I say, to their website today, it's the last that you'll be able to get unless you find another one at another dealer. But again, this is Champ's Clock Shop in Douglasville, Georgia. You can see us online at champsclock.com. We also have the world's largest cuckoo clock, and we do deliver wherever it's necessary. The one thing that Howard Miller cannot do, selling factory direct, is offer you a premium delivery. The people that they have to deliver their clocks are just somebody that can do what I did when I was 11 years old. They can hang the weights and pendulum on it and walk out the door. When we deliver a clock, it's going to be right. And that's the way we've been doing it here for going on 60 years. But we've just got line after line of very fine grandfather clocks. Premium pieces from Hershey, Sovereign. That's a company that we never carried, but I ended up getting that from another person that had it. It was in pristine condition. We only purchase clocks that are perfect or sell something that we can be extremely proud of. That's another Sly design sold under the Bulova brand after they purchased the designs. Howard Miller just stole them from whoever. They would just copy anybody else's design that they wanted. They produced this clock, which is a Sly design. But of course, once they start producing it, the quality control issues start to change. The Howard Miller version was missing a lot of steps that this clock has, but it was still a good clock. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've been selling Howard Miller since 1974, and that's another pearl there. Now that, if you ever been to Graceland, you would have seen that one's counterpart, because that was it's called the Graceland, actually. It says Elvis forward and backwards in the corners. We've got some pieces that we've bought back from customers that are extremely premium condition, and they get a new movement if they've got any wear to them. We want to warrant everything that we sell for 3 years, and we have to stand behind those. And unfortunately, once you've purchased something factory direct from Howard Miller, once your 1 year warranty's up, if they're not there, you don't have any support. And that's the difference in buying from a legitimate clock dealer. Another piece from Sly's past. That is the grandfather clock version of the wall clock you saw hanging back here. We've still got about 100 different grandfather clocks on display, and I know that's going to change. I'll eventually give a tour of what we've got in the back of the warehouse, which knock your socks off. I mean, I've got thousands, and that's what I said, thousands of rhythm clocks after they just backed out of the industry. I noticed somebody posted this clock the other day, one that they had purchased somewhere, but we still have one. This was, I think that was, what did they call that thing? The Sheffield by Sly. And this one is a little shorter. I can reach past the top of it just a little bit. But this was actually produced by Hermley. I'm going to clean my lens real quick. And it's a very nice piece. You won't find any of these probably on anybody's floor. But it's a very large, very nice clock. Import model for Sly, Hermley, Bulova. They all imported it from the same people, but Sly initially produced it. Check that out. You're not going to see that just anywhere either. Konnichiwa. We got the world's largest Kit Kat clock here. We've got a bunch of regular Howard Miller line products still. We've also got, like this piece, that's a consignment, a beautiful Ridgeway model when they were making some very premium pieces. You won't find that anywhere else either. I mean, if you're into white, that's one of the finest made pieces you'll ever find. And the price is right. You know, it's a, look at there, there's a Sly curio cabinet clock. But, you know, there's a lot of hype going on right now since Howard Miller is ceasing their production. And it's a shame that it's happening, and we're going to miss them. I just wish they had given support to the industry instead of waiting for it to collapse the way it has and then supporting themselves right there at the end. But Howard Miller's always been good about supporting themselves. Here's another piece. Look at that. That's the Taylor model. Beautiful piece. Not going to find any of those anymore either. If you got somewhere that's tall and lean, very traditional looking clock, they produced that thing probably for 25 years. There's the Colonial Majestic, also made in Zeeland, Michigan. What a gorgeous piece. That one there is about to receive a brand new movement and then set up for sale. Another Ridgeway from Christmas past. Gorgeous, beautiful piece. And again, I'm going to come back here to the Charles R. Sly room. Oh, look at that thing. That was a Ridgeway piece. They probably made less than 30 of those. One of our favorites. Still got it. There's the next largest, that's the largest production cuckoo clock. Those are made by Schneider. You could actually order one of those in their catalog. 8 feet tall, next to an 11-foot long shotgun. You know, who's winning out there? I got the biggest shotgun. No, I got the biggest cuckoo clock. And then you turn around and you see this monster. Look at that. A little over 4 meters, genuine cuckoo clock made right in the Black Forest. Can take it off the wall and hang it right on another wall if you're the Jolly Green Giant. But anyway, we're going to end out here on the J.H. Miller. Just going to say bye to the ones in the industry out there. Something sort of sad about hearing that. But they even maintained the thickness of a quality case on this one, where so many of them had been thinned down. They just did a really nice job keeping this in the line. So we're going to end this up. Again, this is Champ's Clock Shop, Douglasville, Georgia, champsclock.com. We've got the clock for you. This is what you're looking for, and we're going to stand behind what we sell. And we'd love to have you come pay us a visit. You can come in, you don't have to buy a thing, but you're going to see stuff that you just don't get to see anywhere else, and at a quantity level that just about unmatched. I mean, there might be a few shops in this nation that still have some quality selections, but I guarantee you they're few and far between. Hope you enjoyed seeing what you're seeing. If you want to call the shop, our number is 770-942-2128. Champs Clock Shop, Douglasville, Georgia. Say goodbye to the J.H. Miller.